Why should we care about ancient philosophers in the 21st century? In our modern world, brimming with technology and scientific discoveries, there's a question that often lingers in the back of our minds. It's easy to gloss over the writings of thinkers who lived 2.5 millennia ago, thinking that their ideas have little relevance to our lives today. But consider this: the early philosophers were the pioneers of the intellectual world. They were the ones who dared to question, to challenge, to shake the foundations of their societies. They looked beyond the superstitions and religious beliefs of their time, striving to understand the world through reason and observation. They pondered on questions that still haunt us today. What is the nature of reality? What is our place in the universe? How should we live our lives? What is the basis of morality? In a world filled with uncertainties, they sought to find solid ground, to discover universal truths that could guide humanity. Their ideas laid the foundation for science, politics, ethics, and many other fields. They taught us the importance of skepticism, of not accepting ideas just because they are popular or tradition. They showed us the value of critical thinking, of examining our beliefs and assumptions, of always seeking knowledge and understanding. These early philosophers, from Socrates to Plato, from Aristotle to the Stoics, were not just abstract thinkers. They were deeply engaged with the problems of their time, and their ideas were often a response to these issues. They challenged the status quo, often at great personal risk. In doing so, they paved the way for a more rational, more scientific approach to understanding the world. Their legacy continues to inspire us today. We still use their ideas and methods in our quest to understand the world and our place in it. We still grapple with the ethical and political issues they raised, and we still strive to live up to their ideals of wisdom and virtue. The wisdom of early philosophers continues to inspire and challenge us today. The journey of philosophy began before Socrates, with the Presocratic philosophers. These ancient thinkers, born in the cradle of Western civilization, dared to question the nature of the universe and our place in it. One of the first of these philosophers was Thales of Miletus. He proposed a radical idea for his time, that the world could be understood not through the lens of myth and superstition, but through reasoned inquiry. Thales suggested that water, a fundamental element of life, was the origin of all things, a theory that, while simplistic by today's standards, represented a significant departure from the divine explanations of his contemporaries. Next, we have Heraclitus of Ephesus, famously known as the weeping philosopher. He was fascinated by the concept of change, famously stating, "No man ever steps in the same river twice." His ideas, while cryptic, challenged the static perspective of the universe, suggesting instead that change was a fundamental characteristic of reality. Then there's Democritus, the laughing philosopher, who proposed an idea that was centuries ahead of its time. He suggested that everything in the universe was made up of tiny, indivisible particles he called atomos. This idea would eventually form the basis of atomic theory, a cornerstone of modern science. These pre-Socratic philosophers were not without their frustrations. They were often met with resistance from a society deeply entrenched in superstition and religious dogma. Yet they persevered, driven by their quest for knowledge and their conviction that the universe could be understood through reason and observation. Their contributions to natural philosophy were monumental. They rejected divine explanations for natural phenomena, seeking instead to explain the universe through observable facts and reasoned argument. In doing so, they laid the groundwork for the scientific method, a tool that continues to guide our understanding of the world today. The pre-Socratic philosophers dared to question the superstitions of their time, setting the stage for a more rational approach to understanding the world. Their legacy continues to inspire us, reminding us of the power of curiosity, the value of skepticism, and the importance of a rational approach to understanding our universe. Enter Socrates, a man who would become known as the father of Western philosophy. This remarkable individual was born in Athens, the heart of ancient Greece, a place teeming with intellectual curiosity and debate. Socrates, however, was not just another voice in the crowd. He was a philosophy trailblazer, a thinker who dared to question the status quo and challenge the conventional wisdom of his time. Socrates was known for his unique approach to philosophy. He engaged in what we now call the Socratic method, a form of dialogue where he would probe and question, not to win an argument, but to stimulate critical thinking and illuminate ideas. It was a radical departure from the traditional lecture-based teaching, and it paved the way for a new era of philosophical discourse. Yet the road was not always smooth for our philosophical pioneer. Socrates often found himself at odds with the deeply ingrained religious beliefs of his society. He questioned the blind faith in the pantheon of Greek gods, arguing for a more rational and logical approach to understanding the world. This was a bold stance, one that sparked intrigue, admiration, but also hostility. The hostility culminated in a trial that is now notorious in the annals of philosophical history. Accused of impiety and corrupting the youth, Socrates stood before a jury of his peers, unyielding in his defense of reason and truth. He could have chosen the easy way out, to renounce his ideas and live. But Socrates was not a man to compromise his principles. He chose to drink the hemlock, a potent poison, turning his execution into a profound testament to his commitment to truth. Socrates, through his relentless quest for truth, showed us the power of questioning and critical thinking. His story is a reminder that philosophy is not just about lofty ideas and abstract theories. It's about the courage to challenge, to question, and to seek truth, even in the face of adversity. In the end, Socrates' life and death became a beacon for free thinkers, a symbol of intellectual bravery that continues to inspire us today. From the teachings of Socrates emerged two of the greatest philosophers of all time, Plato and Aristotle. Their profound thoughts, insights, and critiques of superstition and irrational religious beliefs have shaped centuries of philosophical discourse and influenced multiple fields of study. Plato, a student of Socrates, was a profound philosopher who founded the Academy in Athens, the first institution of higher learning in the Western world. His philosophy was grounded in the idea of forms, which he considered to be the true reality behind the physical world we perceive. Plato saw the physical world as imperfect and transient, while the world of forms was eternal and perfect. He believed that the philosopher's task was to understand these forms through reason. Plato's critique of superstition was sharp. He believed in a rational, orderly universe and dismissed superstition as irrational fear. Plato's philosophy laid the groundwork for rationalism, a belief in reason as the primary source of knowledge, which was a significant departure from the superstition and myth that dominated the ancient world. Aristotle, on the other hand, was a student of Plato. He differed from his teacher in many respects, particularly in his understanding of the physical world. Aristotle believed that knowledge could be gained from studying the physical world, not just from contemplating perfect forms. This approach led him to make significant contributions to various fields, including biology, physics, politics, and metaphysics. Aristotle was critical of irrational religious beliefs. He believed in a prime mover, a perfect entity that set the universe in motion but did not interfere with its workings. This was a radical departure from the capricious gods of ancient Greek mythology. The philosophies of Plato and Aristotle have had a profound influence on later thinkers. Their emphasis on reason over superstition has shaped modern fields like politics, where rational debate is valued, ethics, where reason is used to determine right from wrong, and metaphysics, where logical arguments are used to explore the nature of reality. Plato and Aristotle, armed with reason and logic, challenged the dogmas of their time and left an indelible mark on the world of philosophy. Their legacy continues to echo in the corridors of modern thought, reminding us of the power of reason and the importance of questioning everything. Early philosophers did more than just question and criticize. They also triumphed over superstition and irrationality. Their profound thoughts and rational arguments paved the way for the rise of science. It was these philosophers who first proposed that the universe could be understood through observation and logic, rather than through mythology and superstition. This revolutionary idea laid the groundwork for the scientific method, an approach that continues to drive our understanding of the world today. But their triumphs didn't stop there. Early philosophers also played a crucial role in the development of rational ethics. They challenged the idea that morality was dictated by the gods, instead proposing that ethical principles could be derived from human nature and reason. This radical shift in thinking enabled the development of moral and political philosophies that prioritize human well-being and justice, values that remain at the heart of many societies today. Perhaps one of the most lasting triumphs of early philosophy is the promotion of critical thinking. Philosophers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle encouraged their students to question everything, to scrutinize their beliefs, and to seek knowledge for its own sake. This spirit of inquiry has been handed down through the ages, inspiring countless thinkers, reformers, and innovators. It's what drives us to question authority, to challenge prevailing norms, and to seek better solutions. In essence, the triumphs of early philosophy have shaped the course of human history. They've given us the tools to understand our world, to determine right from wrong, and to challenge our own thinking. And they continue to influence us today, from the scientific breakthroughs that reshape our understanding of the universe, to the ethical debates that define our societies, to the critical thinking skills that underpin a healthy democracy. In conclusion, the triumphs of early philosophy are not just historical milestones. They're living legacies, shaping our world, our values, and our minds. The triumphs of early philosophy are a testament to the power of human reason and the pursuit of truth. So, where does that leave us today? How is early philosophy still relevant, you might wonder? Well, the echoes of early philosophy can be heard loud and clear in our modern age. These philosophers were the pioneers of rational thought, the first to challenge superstition and dogma, and their ideas continue to shape our understanding of the world. Think about the way we approach knowledge and truth. This is heavily influenced by Socratic questioning, a method of inquiry that encourages us to critically examine our beliefs and assumptions. In a world where misinformation is just a click away, this kind of critical thinking is more important than ever. It's our shield against the onslaught of fake news and distorted facts. And then there's the ethical frameworks established by the likes of Plato and Aristotle. Their thoughts on morality, justice, and the good life still form the bedrock of our ethical and legal systems. They inspire us to think about what it means to live a good and fulfilling life, to treat others with fairness and respect, and to strive for a just society. Early philosophy also encourages us to question authority and dogma, to not accept things at face value. This spirit of skepticism is crucial in our age of polarized opinions and heated debates. It encourages us to question, to dig deeper, to seek out the truth, rather than just accepting the status quo. And what about the philosophical underpinnings of science? The scientific method itself owes a great debt to the logical reasoning and empirical observation championed by early philosophers. They were the ones who first proposed that we could understand the world around us through observation and reasoning, rather than relying on superstition or divine revelation. The early philosophers, with their rational thinking and quest for truth, are more relevant than ever in today's complex world. Their legacy is not just in the books we read or the classes we take, but in the very way we think, reason, and understand the world. As we wrap up, it's clear that the legacy of early philosophers is far from forgotten. Their intellectual fingerprints are indelibly imprinted on the canvas of human thought, influencing our understanding of the world and our place within it. The dawn of philosophy was a rebellion against the unreason of superstition and the constraints of religion. These early thinkers dared to question, dared to seek, dared to challenge. They dared to embrace reason and logic in a world enthralled by myths and mysticism. The Presocratic philosophers set the stage, their ideas shimmering like the first light of dawn. They paved the way for Socrates, the father of Western philosophy, who turned the philosophical gaze inward, challenging us to know ourselves. Then came Plato and Aristotle, two towering giants who built on this foundation, shaping the contours of philosophy as we know it. Their legacy is a testament to the triumph of reason over unreason, of inquiry over dogma, of philosophy over superstition. The triumphs of early philosophy were not merely abstract victories in the realm of thought. They were practical triumphs too, shaping the societies and cultures that followed. They gave birth to science, to democracy, to human rights. They challenged us to question, to seek truth, to strive for justice. The relevance of early philosophy today is undeniable. Their ideas continue to shape our world, challenging us to question, to think, to understand. They remind us that we are not mere cogs in the machine of fate, but active agents capable of shaping our own destiny. They remind us of the power of reason, the value of truth, and the importance of ethical living. The wisdom of early philosophers, born out of frustration and triumph, continues to enlighten us, challenging us to question, to think, and to understand.